lounging, son.
Welcome back to another episode of the Comic Lounge Podcast, guys. I am your ever so sleepy neighborhood Dillbot. With me, as always, the defender of Woodland Hills, my boy Ryan Balcom. Yeah, I'll think of something better.
That's fine. The defender of Woodland Hills.
The defender of Woodland Hills. This week's picks, guys. Ryan and I kind of dropped the ball. I'll just lay it all out there.
We dropped the ball with different books.
So. We did read the same of two certain books, so we're going to talk about those. But in the but right now, like, I'm going to read what I read, what Ryan didn't. Then Ryan's going to read what he read that I didn't, because we totally. I don't know. Yeah. It's been a long week. We both have had some weeks.
Well, we were supposed to read the books. We were supposed to read this week were Shadecraft, Flash, Other History of DCU issue 3, and Beta Ray Bill. Now, my Shadecrafts came in not until yesterday, so I forgot to read it. You forgot to read Flash because you guys sold out. But I still want to fucking give shout outs to him because, like, I've heard nothing but good things about Shadecraft. And I mean, you're the one that's like, no, we got to read it. So yeah, I'll let you lead off with Shadecraft, and then I'll talk about it.
All right, cool. Shadecraft by Joe Henderson, Lee Garbett, Antonio Fambella, color artist, Simon Boland, letterer, Rick Lopez, editor, variant cover by Jock. This is awesome that we both picked like two comics with two strong female Asian leads. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, so the strong Asian lead, and it's basically
and Shadecraft also.
In Shadecraft, yeah.
So we almost picked 3 because we were gonna do Silk.
I read Silk. I
did
just
too.
Like Asian women, dude. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's fantastic. I just wish Wave would get her own comic. That'd be so tight. Anyway, Shadecraft is a coming of age story about a young girl who her brother is in a coma. And, everyone thinks she's going crazy. All this stuff, all the stuff she's experiencing is all reactionary to how she's coping with her brother. So everyone calls her crazy. They call her Crazy Zadie. And her brother is in a coma. And she's like, there's all this stuff happening. Like, she's starting to see shadows, like shadows actually attacking her and like doing all this crazy stuff. It even gets to the point where everybody knows that she talks about this, that people are making YouTube videos scaring her using their shadows, and it's going viral. And it's like, it's fucked up because they're fucking bullying the shit out of this girl. And her brother is in like a coma. He's been like in a coma for like a year. And she's just known as either Crazy Zadie or, the sister of the kid who's in a coma. Like, it's pretty fucked up. Like, this is like showing like really how vicious high school can be. I'm just glad that like when we were in high school we didn't have like video phones and shit like that, and like we did a lot of stupid shit in high school, and I'm just glad that none of it is going viral.
I'm glad there's no evidence. Yes.
Yeah, there's no evidence of any of the dumb shit, but this is fucked up because it's like she's starting to react very differently. Everybody is really starting to come at her. And then finally, I'm not going to reveal the twist at the end, but the shadows do come and they are real. And it's pretty crazy. Okay. It's pretty dope. Yeah. The art in it is really awesome. Again, just strong Asian leads. Like, I'm here for it, dude.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm very excited to read it. I'm very excited to read it. It was not, I want to make sure I make this clear. It wasn't that I didn't care about reading the book. I just genuinely forgot that I had brought it home because, like, I brought all of my books for this week home on Monday. You know what I mean? So I read all my books by Tuesday. Tuesday I had everything read, and I'm really kind of pissed that I didn't read it because I would have loved to kind of dive into this more. I mean, I know that the books are optioned for a movie. I know it's already speculated on because of that, so it's already going for money. Take all that out. I've only heard good things about the book. Nick said it was a really good first issue, so I'm excited to read it. I'm probably going to read it before I head into work today. But yeah, I'm glad that at least one of us could kind of talk about it because I do want to promote the book. I do want to give a shout out to that.
The art, the utilization of blacks and like lighting in this is like some of the it really is Shadecraft. Like it takes its name very literally when it comes to the art. It's really dope. I really like the effects of the shadows. The shadows actually feel alive. It's not just like matte black all everywhere. These blacks and these grays and these streak lines. These all have texture. I really, really freaking like the artwork in this. Okay. Really good. I think you're gonna like it too. Watch.
I trust. I mean, dude, I trust your opinion. You know, there's very few people whose opinions I trust when it comes to like recommending me a comic. You're on that very
even though you're the one that like recommends me like who does the recommendations more. Like, I feel like if I'm gonna bring something to you, it has to be good. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's the reason that the Wretch is on its way to me. It's because of you. So you know, so I can't wait to read it.
Okay, so the second and first book of the Wretch are really good, but it's the first book. I mean, the second and third book are really good, but the first book is the one like I'm just.
I mean, fuck! I think we should probably do an episode then.
When I
read the first book because nobody talks about it. So I didn't know it until you told me, and I am a huge Phil Hester mark. I like his art. Man. I love his stuff. So like when you told me he had his own book, I'm like, why the fuck did black and white? I love
all black and white and.
I'll talk about Flash. Flash 76. Like I said to you, I interviewed Jeremy Adams. That as of right now, when we're recording, I'm uploading it to YouTube. So the interview is going up today, and you know how skeptical I am of Flash. How protective I don't know. Maybe protective isn't the right word.
Flash is baby, dude. I get it.
I heard myself say that to him, and I'm like, why am I telling him I'm protective of these characters? But whatever. That's besides the point. Like Wally West was my first. was the first comic I had. Yeah. The first comic as a kid. So like, I've always read Flash. I've never not read a Flash comic, except right before Future State. I didn't read that stuff because I couldn't. I just wasn't enjoying it, and Future State Flash was trash. But when I read Jeremy Adams' Black Adam story in the Suicide Squad backup, and he brought in the 853rd Century Justice Legion, I'm like, okay, this dude obviously loves DC Comics, right? Then I found out he was going to be Flash Rider. I'm like, okay, maybe this has a chance to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Then I found out Wally was going to be the lead, and I'm like, yes, finally, you guys could stop shitting all over my favorite character. And I have to say, I don't want to spoil anything, but he gets it. He gets Flash. It's a fun comic. It's lighthearted, but it also has some serious stuff that goes on in it. There's a couple moments with Barry and Ollie. Anybody that's read Heroes in Crisis is aware that Wally West was responsible for, accidentally killing multiple heroes, right? Because he kind of lost control in his emotions and the lightning shot off and killed people. Yes, Heroes in Crisis was well written and the art was phenomenal, but I just wish they would have done something else instead of making Wally the murderer and they made somebody else, and I probably would have maybe not felt as the way I did about it. But anything. I mean,
Clayman though. Clayman.
Yeah. But besides that, like we're dealing with some moments with Ollie and Barry in here. Wally and what he's doing, right? Because anybody that read the solicit, I'll just say he doesn't want to be Flash. Barry picks him to succeed him as he's going to explore the Omniverse, and he's like, Wally, you need to be the Flash now. And Wally just got his kids back, just got his wife back, so he kind of wants to no, I want to retire, I want to be with them. And so we got that aspect, and now he's being thrust through time. And I won't get too into that, but it's really cool. And they talk about it has everything that I want from Wally. Like they're talking about how he has the special connection to the Speed Force more than any speedster in history, right? And that's always been a key factor for him is that he understands the Speed Force even better than Barry. And I'm excited to see where it goes. I think this was a really good issue. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10.
Nice.
I think Newsarama gave it a 7. I wouldn't say it's a C. I say it was a solid, solid bordering on A for me. I'm definitely excited to see where it goes. I think you'll enjoy it. It's a cool little jumping on point. And yeah, anybody that likes Flash, likes Wally, this is a
Wally
good
showed his ass out in the past couple events. A speed metal was what set it off for me. Now I just want to know more, and I'm really excited. This is cool. This is fucking cool.
Yeah. Very, very, very excited for it. What book do you want to talk next that we could both talk about?
We'll talk about Beta Ray Bill.
Holy shit.
This is some good stuff. This felt like an indie comic. Let's talk about who wrote it.
Daniel Warren Johnson.
Daniel Warren Johnson. freaking awesome. Freaking
Yep.
Mike Spicer, Joe Sabino with Daniel Warren Johnson on lettering, Johnson and Spicer on cover arts. I didn't know what I was expecting out of this. Like,
how much of Daniel Warren Johnson's stuff have you read?
Not much. I'll be honest.
Have you read Murder Falcon?
No, but it's been recommended to me multiple times.
Pick it up at the. If you're working today, go do yourself a favor and pick that up. Have you read Extremity? Yeah.
You mentioning something with a title like Murder Falcon? This issue is very metal.
I mean, he is his like Wonder Woman, Dead Earth. You read that, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
This fool is like
Dead Earth. Okay. Yeah. All right. This is like the most metal comic I've ever seen, and the violence that freaking Marvel gets, like, lets these guys get away with in this is great. Like, I'm talking, like, I've never seen Fin Fan Foom like this, bro. Like, this is some brutal stuff.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
Fucking Daniel Warren Johnson, dude. Let me tell you, this is my introduction to his work was Extremity. It's a two volume book that he did at Image, and then I went back and read The Ghost Fleet that he did with Donny Cates, which is one of Donny Cates' earliest books.
Right.
Another awesome project. But then I read Murder Falcon, and I'm like, this dude is on some other kind of level. Like, it's not just his art that's phenomenal. It's his storytelling. It's his writing. It's his lettering that he does too. Because how you mentioned, he also lettered it. All those, like, I think the lettering also really adds to what he's bringing to the table. But Wonder Woman, Dead Earth knocked it out of the park. Probably one of my favorite Wonder Woman series. And then, like, I found out Beta Ray Bill. I'm like, dude, yes. Like, who else could do a Beta Ray Bill comic? I'm like, I really couldn't think of any other creator I wanted to see on this book. And I immediately knew. I'm like, this is going to be the most metal we've ever seen Beta Ray Bill. Guess what?
He did metal as shit. I love the Hook references in this, like the whole Rufio and Peter Pan references.
Yes. Bangarang, dude.
Bangarang. Like,
like, awesome.
And then the comparison in which it has to, like, the story and, like, Thor's role in this going forward. Like, this is some metal shit. You have to go pick this up. This has to be one of the books that you have to go pick. This has to be, like, the number one that people have to go pick up if they haven't already. This is a lot of fun.
I mean,
I did videos for this, and this is for Arsenal, and I hadn't watched it yet, and I was just kind of like, oh, and Beta Ray Bill, make sure to go pick that up. Now I feel like an idiot because I should sell it. And this is that was a fantastic comic. But, like, you want good feel good comics, like that right there, especially with its kinetic art and freaking. Dude, the lettering in this is outstanding. All this stuff can be painted on the side of vans, of, like, a metal band's van. This is fucking cool.
I know. I mean, I said, like, to people. Well, I mean, we were really busy, and, like, I spent more time than I would have liked to on the computer, not being able to interact with people as they came in. But when I did get a chance, I'm like, X-Men was phenomenal this week. Yeah. Amazing. Like, it was so fucking good. Right. And if X-Men didn't come out, Beta Ray Bill would have been without a doubt, my number one book of the week. But because X-Men came out, it's tied for my favorite book of the week.
Okay, gotcha.
Because, like, I mean, you love Laura. You know what I mean? And
oh, yeah. Oh, it's a Laura.
So,
issue.
Like, they're dealing with the X-Men issue, which I kind of wish I would have picked X-Men, but you're not caught up. But it's dealing with when Darwin, Laura, and the fuck is his name? Sync. When they went into that
there's a lot of mutants to keep up with, and it's
I know.
Annoying.
So they're dealing with that time when they went into that bubble where time moves differently. Yeah. So I think you can kind of guess what's going on in there and how long they've been there. Anyways, so, like, because that issue was so good, I don't want to spoil it. But it blew me away. But Beta Ray Bill, 19, I think.
Oh yeah.
So
I gotta catch up with Extra Swords. I just gotta catch up on so much stuff. Yeah, but I read Alias, so
and I did too. That's the one thing I didn't forget. But yeah, Beta Ray Bill is a character that, like, I think from like a young age, I was always like, who is that? When I was like a little kid, because I would see that cover of his first appearance, I'm like, who is this horse face that has Thor's hammer? Like, what? I don't understand what this is. And you know, this is one of the things I wish I read. I wish I would have read Simonson's Thor run. I still have not read that run, and I think that is kind of a shame considering what a huge fan I am of Thor. But what I have gotten from Beta Ray Bill, I've been fascinated with. Like, I want to know more. And in Donny Cates' Thor run, which I'm kind of, you know, neither here nor there about, Thor breaks Stormbreaker.
Yeah.
He fucking shatters it. So now, and I also didn't know that Beta Ray Bill, like, transforms back into, like, more of a humanoid kind of person. That was something I didn't know.
That's brand new.
And that he gets, like, the horse face when he gets, you know, the power of Thor or whatever, right? So I thought that was interesting. And then when he gets transformed back, now he's stuck in this form, and seeing him, like, but he's kind of like leading Asgard's army, and like that scene too where he's like raising the axe was really fucking awesome.
That was like, oh man, Beta Ray Bill's about to come over here and wreck.
So, you know, seeing that and then seeing like this battle with Fang Foom, like you mentioned, and like Sif was like kind of like, you know, hitting on him like, you owe me a drink. And they go back to the room and he can't transform back. He's now stuck in this form. And
I didn't know Sif and Bill were clapping cheeks. That's really that was a really big surprise to see.
That was news to me, bro. That was news to me. I think it was probably news to a lot of people. I don't think that that's ever been touched upon, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, hell yeah, attaboy, Thor.
Yeah, so
get some.
You know, like that panel and the sadness in Beta Ray Bill's eyes, dude. Like, I felt for him, you know, and like I'm excited to see like if we're gonna learn more of his backstory, because that's kind of what it feels like. We're seeing the birth of Beta Ray Bill juxtaposed with what's going on in the current timeline, and his fucking ship Scuttlebutt. You know what I mean? Like,
and Pip, the short appearance of Pip. Oh man, like this is. I love it. I
like this more than
relationships.
Thor.
Huh?
I like this more than Thor right now, if I'm being honest.
I would have to agree. There's a little altercation that like it just dug me in the feels, like between Thor and Bill at the end of the comic, and you know, again with the freaking Hook references. This is some fantastic stuff, dude.
Because you know he's like around our age, so like he's totally like. It's really cool to be able to see stuff in comics now where our generation is writing. So like now we get the references where like probably somebody 10 years younger than us is like, what the fuck is Rufio?
Why is he saying Rufio?
You know, so
I mean, what is Bangarang?
Yeah,
like if you haven't seen the Hook, like we can't be fucking friends.
I mean, one of the first movies I fucking brought to my daughter's life was fucking Hook. And now it's one of her favorite movies. So you're not succeeding as a parent nowadays if you're not showing your kid fucking Hook, okay?
Dustin,
if you don't know the greatness of Robin Williams by age fucking 3, you're failing.
Yeah.
My daughter loves every single Robin Williams movie that I put in front of her.
Robin Williams is the best. And freaking Dustin Hoffman is the only Hook for me. I don't give a fuck. Like any iteration, like in comic book form or book form or whatever, like whatever I read and there requires friggin' Captain Hook to talk, it's in Dustin Hoffman's voice.
Which is kind of funny. It's not in the Peter Pan cartoon movie. It's totally fucking in Dustin Hoffman. Yeah.
And it's the best shit ever. Anyway, Beta Ray Bill, I give it a solid 9 out of 10. Like
I think I give it a 10.
Yeah.
For me. But I really love Daniel Warren Johnson, and I would give it a 10 personally. Yeah. I mean, that's just me. I think it was flawless. I think it gives you enough of like the mystery to find out what's going on with Beta Ray Bill, where he's from, and definitely sets up where we're going to go with the rest of this.
I hope this origin story touches on how he got Bill in his name. You know, because let's go. I mean, because like the as far as his origin goes, everyone keeps on calling him Beta Ray, Beta Ray, Beta Ray. So I want to know where Bill comes from. I feel like Thor gives it to him in a drunken stupor. Yeah. Huh? Bill, Thor. Yeah. It's like Bill, Ted.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So those are our ratings for that. But let's talk about this for a second.
Look at that beautiful Jamal Campbell cover.
Yeah,
flawless.
I was excited. I was excited when I heard about.
John Ridley on story, layouts Giuseppe Camicoli, finishes by
color by Jose Villarrubia, lettering by Stephen Wands, cover by Giuseppe Camicoli and Mark Strazo, variant cover by Jamal Campbell. Katana created by Mike Barr and Jim Aparo. I was excited for this, like when it was announced that John Ridley was going to do other history stuff. So when I found out that he was going to do Katana, I was already excited for it. Yeah. And the timing of this is insane.
What? It's like
the timing.
So was the Black Lightning.
Yeah, the timing of it is. It's crazy.
Funny to say the timing is crazy, right?
Yeah.
But really, though, is it? Because could he not have fucking dropped this at any time within the last 20 years or 5 years from now? And would this not still be relevant? And that's the sad part.
Yeah.
To me, that's what's trying, is that all this shit, all this prejudice and racism and stuff that they touch upon in all these books so far, you really could drop it anytime. Yes, right now it is super relevant in terms of like Asian America, right? And like the racism that
it's crazy.
This book just like it blew me away. I told you before we hit that record button, thank you for kind of forcing me to read it this week, because I may have like just waited. I glossed through issue 2 because I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll just wait till this is all done and I'll just do a full read. But I do really love Katana, and that's why I didn't fight you on like having to read this, because like this was a lot to read. This is a lot of prose, so I wasn't sure. I'm like, am I going to be able to read this?
But it's so well written.
Of course.
Oh my god. Yeah. So basically, we get the origin story of Katana, and I don't know too much about Katana, and I was just excited, obviously because the other side of the DC universe, you hear about Asians and like me being Filipino, like I'm like, hell yeah, let's go, let's fucking find out how freaking people that kind of look like me freaking felt during all this and their perspective, because Black Lightning was so good. Black Lightning was it blew me out of the park. I couldn't believe how good it was, and this is another example of why John Ridley is really good at what he does. Like you said, there's a lot of prose. It's a lot of reading, and it's 40-something pages. So, like, just be prepared. It's a sit down, but it's really good, and I banged it out, dude.
Oh, you know what? I think I didn't. I think I started it Monday night, and I'm like, fuck, my eyes were getting heavy, and I'm like, I don't want to like shortchange this book, so I put it down. Which usually like I'll force myself, even if I'm tired, to just keep reading and power through. But I didn't want to like miss anything, and I'm glad I didn't, because there is so much in here, so much. I mean,
and it's great because like I feel like I have a lot of the important parts that go down in Katana's life, as far as like actual history, even documented history of her time with the Outsiders, her time alone, her time with different team of Outsiders, like in her origin story, and like everything is so well placed that I feel like I really have a good grasp on who the character is. Now, all that doesn't just come with just like historical facts. Like it gives like her perspective. And what's crazy about this dates from what, 1983 to 1996. I was living in LA, like off of like Vermont and like Vermont and over by Hoover Elementary in West LA. And the riots, when they were going down, I could see the pillars of smoke from my balcony. Like,
oh shit.
So yeah, and keep in mind, I was in kindergarten when all this stuff happened. I was little, or kindergarten, or like first grade or whatever. But when all this stuff was going down, like it was like one of the most scariest shit ever. I saw a National Guard on the street. I saw freaking pillars, and you just hear about all this stuff. And then what it talks about in here, it talks about Koreatown, and the stuff that happens in Koreatown, Koreatown was some of the wildest shit ever. Like it's legendary around here, like around Los Angeles, about how down the Koreans were for their businesses. They literally set up shop on top of their stores and were like protecting their property, guns out. And it was like the craziest thing, and nobody fucked with it. I mean, the thing is, like, during the riots, like a lot of Korean-owned stores were freaking looted, and there was all this crazy racial tension, and it's just like absolutely crazy, like how John Ridley incorporates that and a bunch of other things that happened around Los Angeles. That it's insane. Like,
yeah, I mean that's one of the things that I think has been
you learn something.
It's been the thing about it that you're not just learning the history of these characters, and you're not just learning the history of, like you said, it's 83 to 96, right? Yeah. So he doesn't just touch on the history of the character in that time period. Yes, that's when the character is created, right? Mm. And he talks about that stuff, but he also talks about real world events like you just touched upon with like Koreatown, right? And he takes snapshots of real stories and puts them in here. He talks about the internment camps during World War II, right? And how Japanese Americans who did nothing, right? That's like one of the dark spots on American history, in my opinion. Right there, right up there with slavery. He doesn't pull punches. And he doesn't, it's not like you're being, like, not force-fed, like, a history lesson. Like, it's interesting. And he's juxtaposing it within this superhero world.
And this perspective. It's crazy.
And giving the perspective from Katana and, like, how she feels, right? And her own trials and tribulations, and also dealing with this stuff and, like, the prejudice and the racism and, like, how he puts this... A comic book shouldn't be this fucking good, dude. I mean, that's not fair to say. I shouldn't say a comic book. A DC comic book. I'm just blown away that this project is being made from DC Comics. And I don't want to say that DC Comics is not capable of doing it, because they fully are capable of producing content like this, but we haven't seen it much in a long time. And we haven't seen it much in terms of DC proper. I know this is Black Label, but you're using the DC heroes. When's the last time we really saw boundaries pushed? It was DC Vertigo when they were still doing like Swamp Thing or the characters that were in DCU. And then Vertigo completely broke away and was creator-owned stuff, right?
I would totally read a freaking Katana Black Label like mini.
Yeah.
I'd totally read that shit. This was amazing. The narrative and the perspective is some of the most like well thought out freaking perspectives. Like, it's crazy to think that freaking John Ridley wrote this. This is prime example of when you write a character so well that you feel this character is alive throughout every page. This is like sparked like a love for Katana in me that I freaking didn't know I had. This is the craziest stuff. And there's So what I like about this, it takes away like all preconceptions of just because she's Japanese, like, oh, she's a swords master, oh, she's a martial artist, right? And he strips that away, and like, you know, oh, she's crazy and she has a cursed sword, and all of this stuff that wraps around, oh, just because you look Asian, people will automatically assume this of you, like, you know what I mean? And he touches on that, and it's so crazy how well he does it, because she's like completely apathetic to it. She doesn't care. She's like she's like, I treasure fear the most. So whatever myths they hear about me to make them more afraid of me, I'm not gonna deny it. But I'm not gonna confirm it either. Like, you know what I mean?
Because it kind of empowers her too.
Yeah, it empowers her.
And it builds that legend of who Katana is. I have been a fan of Katana. I wouldn't say like, oh, she's one of my favorite characters. I'm not gonna sit here and bullshit or lie, you know. But it was always a character I really liked. For some reason, anybody that wields a sword, I'm a fan of. You know, like, it's something about having a sword to me that, like, it just really appeals to me. And that's why I love Deadpool so much, right? Because he fucking has a goddamn sword. And
guns and swords.
Right. But it's not just, like, like I said, we're not just learning about Katana and her history. We're not just learning about, you know, real-world events through her lens. We're also getting her perspective on certain characters. Her perspective was very intriguing, right? Like, the way she perceives him and what his motives are, I thought was really cool. And then one of the really standouts to me, like I talked to you about this before we hit record as well, was the Deathstroke stuff. And I think a lot of people are talking about that online because John Ridley straight up says it, like, Deathstroke, Slade Wilson, is a pedophiliac rapist. In terms of, and he didn't force himself upon a Terra of the Teen Titans. And anybody that knows that storyline, the Judas contract, Tara was infiltrated the Teen Titans under Deathstroke's guidance, right? But she was a fucking teenager. She was a minor. And he was sleeping with her, right? And he was manipulating her. And I kind of knew that, you know what I mean? Like, they kind of implied it, but, like, this is, like, straight up telling you, no, that shit happened, and this is what went down. And talking about how, you know, people built up this, like, legend of Slade Wilson being this man's
man's man. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
And John Ridley strips that down. Like, no, he's a fucking scumbag. People shouldn't be, like, not looking up to him. That's not the right phrase. But, you know what I mean? Like, praising him.
Putting him on a pedestal.
Right. And the reason, why is she talking about Tara? Why is she talking about it? Because she's a teammate of Tara's half-brother, Brian, who's Geoforce. So that's why this gets mentioned. You don't have to have this in here, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that little snapshot and fucking seeing that because, you know what? That's true. Deathstroke, he's not a fucking hero. And I don't think he should have ever been portrayed as this anti-hero because he is a fucking scumbag, and he has been pretty much since day one.
You know what's crazy about this is I see, like, you know, I kind of see, like, parallels, like, with this and, like, how people perceive writers, like, you know, the scumbag writers, like, oh, they're scumbag writers, but man, they did some really good stuff, like, you know what I mean? So the reaction towards that with, like, Deathstroke and, like, the parallels between the two and how, like, these writers are just fucking scumbags. Let's just leave it at that. They're fucking scumbags, right? Same thing with Deathstroke, like. The perspective of that and the parallels of that shit's crazy. I love this book.
I know.
It was the first thing I had to talk to you about. Like, as soon as we started the call, like before we even started recording, that was the first thing I asked Ryan. Like, yo, did you read this? Like, I feel like the other history, depending on how far it goes and what other characters he does, it's going to be essential reading, like for every comic book fan. Every DC comic book fan, because I'm learning.
I mean, fuck it, you don't even need to be a DC fan because, like, these characters have never had the spotlight ever. Okay, Black Lightning, sure, he's been in the Outsiders, same with Katana, sure. Bumblebee and the Herald, I think is his name. You know, from issue 2. Yeah, they've been around, but they've never gotten this kind of attention. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if you weren't a Black Lightning fan before that first issue, I'm pretty sure that made you want to read some more Black Lightning. If you're not a fan of the, you know, Bumblebee and the Herald, you probably want to learn more about them. Katana, so far this has been my favorite.
This has been my favorite.
This was just such.
This hit me in the feels.
Yeah, and like, I think that's why I was so disappointed in the next Batman, right? Because, like, I read John Ridley stuff here, and then I wonder, like, okay, well, maybe is it just editorial shit? Is it just because it's, like, in main DCU that he can't really, like, do what he wants to do or write to his full power, like his full, like, writing power? And I'm thinking that has to be it. This is Black Label, so you do whatever the fuck you want with Black Label because they can say, well, it's not in continuity, right?
Yeah. And it's not intended for children.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen them call fucking Deathstroke a pedophilic rapist in main continuity? No, rapist. But they did here. I can't, but I feel like rapist. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and then, you know, like, just throughout, like, we even get, like, you know, her talking about Superman, too, and, like, the impact his death had and the new characters coming. Like, and that's another thing that I've really enjoyed about this series is how they recreate specific images.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because then you're like, oh, fuck, I know that image. Where was that from? Like, the different iterations of Outsiders. That was literally different covers from different Outsider series. And then the Suicide Squad. So when she was a member, I have all those issues that they mentioned. Yeah.
Dude, all these recreation of iconic moments has been the best. I even like the Mazzucchelli Year 1 Batman. Yeah, that was dope. But wait, best part of this. All right, so I love 90s R&B. I love R&B. I love hip hop. Just as much as I love hip hop. R&B and hip hop were kind of the thing.
I mean,
and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom. Katana's at a Sade concert.
I know. I was like, what? I was like,
what? That is so tight.
I was like, John, really, what are you doing to me right now? Like, now I gotta go put on some Sade?
Like, I was literally, I'm gonna go put on some Sade right now and read some Katana.
Yes. Yeah.
What? John Ridley, that was
gonna associate Katana with Sade now. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, if there was ever a freaking Katana movie or a Katana sequence in a movie, it has to be Sade playing in the background, like Smooth Operator or
I just
or King of Sorrow, dude. Like
as she's slashing fools down. Smooth Operator, dude.
Yeah, dude.
In slow motion?
Oh yeah.
Dude. Yeah.
Give that to fucking Zack Snyder, dude. Yeah. Zack Snyder loves slow-mo.
Homies for hire. We come up with some good ideas here. Just so you guys know.
Yeah. That's gonna be the pose in the Homies for Hire pick. And it's gonna be me. But I'm not gonna be in a wheelchair because I'm not gonna appropriate. I'm just gonna be sitting down in a regular chair.
Yeah.
No, but this comic is fantastic. It even gives like some really interesting thoughts about like Batman and him trying to create his first team, like a team of outsiders, right? Yeah. And how invested he became with each of the members.
And they really play into that. Like, we are outsiders, and they are technically like from all like, I don't know. It's a diverse group, right? A very, very diverse group of characters that Batman collects, and it's all the like from the outskirts, heroes that nobody really cared about. But then they become like this like really dope team. And I've never read some of the older Outsiders stuff. I have a lot of the, after, early 2000s when Nightwing was leading the Outsiders. That I have a huge run of. And I have gone back and read some older stuff, but I've always liked that lineup. I love Metamorpho. I like Black Lightning. And we've talked about like the Batman the Outsiders that or not Batman Outsiders, but the Outsider stuff that Brandon Thomas was writing. Like, I want more. And now I really want more.
Yeah, dude. Like, remember how dope Katana was in freaking thing? Like, the Soul Sword, the Soul Taker makes so much more sense now. Yeah. The Soul Taker, dude. Yeah. She's crazy.
It was a phenomenal issue. This week was just, I mean, for such a small week, a lot of good stuff came out. A lot of good stuff. And usually, like the fifth week in a when there's 5 weeks of comics, it's that last week that always kind of doesn't have much. Yeah. But then we got like fucking Beta Ray Bill, X-Men, Other History of DCU, Flash, like a lot of really, really strong titles. And I don't know who they're doing. I think this is a 4-issue series. Maybe it's 5. I'm not entirely sure. Other History.
I assumed 5.
I'm trying to speculate on who they're going to go with. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it's going to be Renee Montoya.
That'd be dope.
I'd read that. I mean, so would I. I love Renee Montoya. I think that would be a good choice because, like, you've kind of you've done black character, you've done Asian character. I mean, I don't know what you would call necessarily the issue 2, because I thought he was going to just do different minority characters like throughout. But yeah, LGBTQ. You got to do Renee Montoya. You can't really. I wouldn't say Batwoman. She's too new. She just didn't have history yet, right? Like she hasn't.
Yeah, Renee Montoya can literally be there like from the jump of actual year 1. Like, cause what? Okay, Gordon comes in year 1 as a detective, right? Already. Right. So that means Montoya would have to be a beat cop. So I would love to see Montoya as a beat cop during year 1 of Batman. That'd be crazy.
I mean, dude, like there's like a long history, like where she's not gay in the beginning. Right? Yeah. And then during, like, I think No Man's Land, when I went back and reread that, like, you start to see, like...
How was that, by the way? I haven't retouched No Man's Land since, like...
I enjoyed it. But I think the best that Renee Montoya's ever been was Gotham Central. Under Greg Rucka's writing, because I'm pretty sure he wrote those scenes, Ed Brubaker and him split, like, the night shift and the day shift, right? That's how they broke down the writing. But Renee Montoya is just... She's such a great character, and then she even becomes the Question during, that 52 series where she's like going around with Vic Sage, and he dies, and then she takes up the mantle. So I feel like they did announce that as the next issue, but I could be wrong. But I think that would be a good one for them to do. But anyways, like I said, really good week for comics. All of these were phenomenal, even the ones that you read that you didn't. I mean, we could have dove deep into those, but either way, check all these books out that we recommend.
Check them out. It was freaking awesome. So much fun.
For next week, at Green Lantern, we're going to talk about for sure by Jeffrey Thorne. Let's do Geiger.
Okay, Geiger.
Because I think that I think that'd be cool to talk about. And it's Jeff John's first creator-owned book in, like, I don't fucking even know how long. Oh, let's do King in Black.
Oh, it's actual.
It's the conclusion.
Oh, let's fucking do it.
You want to do that? Okay, we'll do Geiger, King in Black, Green Lantern.
Green Lantern.
To be determined?
To be determined. We'll figure it out.
Okay, we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because look, we forget books if we.
We forget exactly. We can't commit right now. We don't know.
It's too early, dude. It's just too fucking early.
Fucking Thursday. It's the first of the month. Leave me alone.
And it's only 8 a.m, so.
It's only.
Fucking tired. Yeah, but no, I mean I think there's probably more coming out. I mean, it's a huge week, so that's good enough. King in Black, Geiger, Green Lantern, and then maybe find an indie book. All right, well, that's all I got. And...
That's all I got.
All right, well, if you're not already following us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge. You can follow Dylan at The Dillbot on Instagram. Make sure you throw your comments or suggestions down below, or you can also email us at thecomicloungepod@gmail.com, and make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid goes up. And on that note, we're out.
Later, buds.